Okay, we're back at it. This is what I get for sitting outside. It's all of the yard animals want to make noise. I can't do a whole lot about the neighbors' dogs that were barking, but I'm thinking since my dog went in, we're probably good now. Okay. We talked a bunch about water, didn't we? Okay. Yes, 16 to 32 ounces of water in the morning because your liver has worked all night to process and detoxify whatever was happening in your body the day before. By giving it a lot of water first thing in the morning, it allows it to help flush on out of your system. So drink a big glass of water in the morning, even before you grab your cup of coffee. How's that? All right. And speaking of coffee, the next one is decrease your caffeine consumption. If you can decrease your caffeine consumption some, your body will appreciate it a lot. It is kind of hard on our adrenal glands, and anything that is taking away from your body instead of adding to is putting you in the negative of trying to heal. Now, I won't say, hey, Laura, do you drink coffee? Occasionally, I do. I've actually cut mine down from daily consumption to I drink coffee 2 or 3 times a month now, or if I just feel like I want it, I'll go have some. But I have realized I don't have to have it every day. And my life hasn't changed that much for it, but I know my body is a little healthier because I'm not piling caffeine upon caffeine upon caffeine on it all day, every day. Very little to no fat and protein before lunch to allow detoxification. Again, this is about allowing your liver in the mornings to help detoxify your body, to help clean out whatever's in there that needs to get cleaned out. And this is one I've been doing for about a year now, is very little fat or protein before lunch. Mostly I'm doing juices, the fresh juices that I make myself, and smoothies, and a lot of water. And then I start eating solid food, real food, around lunchtime. If I'm hungry for breakfast, yes, I will make a breakfast, and I may have some fat and protein. I am not all out teetotaler for anything, but again, these are just the things that have helped me, that I have found that has really made a difference in the health in my body. And not doing a lot of fat and protein before lunch has really helped a lot. I'm sure your keto or paleo or whatever trendy word it is for a high fat and high protein diet these days, they're going to disagree with me, and that's fine. Keto may work for a whole lot of people. My liver and kidneys don't agree with that much protein and fat and animal products in my body at one time. Makes me feel really horrible. So I'm better off being almost vegetarian, almost plant-based. I have meat when I want it and animal products when I want them, but not all the time. It's just a little too heavy for my body now. My body feels better without that. The meats that we do use are, we find local and regional meats, grass-fed and pastured when possible, because we just do not know what they're feeding the chickens and the beef and the pork that you get, the cheap stuff that you get at Walmart and Kroger and places like that. I say cheap stuff. None of the meat is cheap anymore. I guess cheaply grown and cheaply raised is what I would say. The animals do not get good feed. They don't have good living conditions, and then we eat all of that too. So think about where your food is coming from. Think about every single thing that goes into your mouth. Is this good for my body, or is this not good for my body? And you'd be surprised after a while, and be surprised what you can eliminate. It's like, wow, I feel so much better for not having all of that junk. Meat as a side dish instead of a large portion. That helped a lot when I first started trying to eat healthier, trying to live healthier. Was not so much cutting meat completely out, but it no longer took up half my plate. And my servings of meat now take probably a quarter or so of my plate when I do have meat. Lots of fresh fruit and vegetables. A lot of spiritual folks will say the closer you can eat to God and the sun, the better off you're going to be. Well, the closest foods that we eat to God and the sun are fruits and vegetables and herbs and some grains, things that grow, in the sun, and we harvest them, process them very minimally before we consume them. So that's actually what's supposed to be the biggest part of your food pyramid, are the really, really great things that grow close to the sun, the fruits and the vegetables. Green juices and fruity smoothies. This is something that's kind of on our advanced stuff, But I will say that buying a juicer, investing in a juicer, and investing in a really high octane blender has made making a lot of these medicinal foods a lot easier for me. So that's something we can discuss. Vegetable broths and soups. A really easy way to get a lot of vegetables in your system and a lot of fiber is by making a lot of vegetable soups and broths. Steam or roast your vegetables, especially your root vegetables, your carrots, your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your beets, and things like that. That oven roasting them is a really tasty way to enjoy those. Cook at home as much as possible. You know, even if you're eating the exact same thing at home that you would have gotten at a restaurant, it's going to be healthier because you made it at home with less ingredients and probably better quality ingredients. So cooking at home is a big deal, and learn to embrace that, learn to do new things. You get creative at home, and with the cost of food right now, restaurant food the prices are going up, quality seems to be going down. So definitely it's good to cook at home as much as possible. Very low processed foods. We hear people talk about processed foods all the time, and they're barely food. As simple as that. They're barely food. They barely have any nutritional quality to them. They take up space in your stomach, and usually there's 2 or 3 ingredients in it that are absolutely not good for your body, and so you're probably doing more harm than good by eating a lot of these really high processed foods. And I'm talking about fast foods and french fries and chips and cookies and donuts and, you know, all the stuff we love, but all the stuff that your body says, oh gosh, I really could have done without that. Thanks for that big old dose of fat and salt. Thanks. Consider purchasing a juicer or a powerful blender. I think I said that earlier. Don't overdo grains. Grains aren't necessarily horrible, just don't overdo them. Especially the refined grains, you know, white rice and pasta and things like that. They're wonderful, and I'll never completely give them up, but having them every day is not necessarily something that's great for my body. So just grains are okay, just don't overdo them. Use a high quality probiotic every day. Our gut flora in most of the United States is horrible. People do not have enough good bacteria in their gut to do the job that it's meant to do. So a great probiotic daily helps that. Your digestion is better, and the rest of your body functions better. A giant percentage of our immune system is in your gut, and so the better your gut can work and the better you can take care of your gut, the better your immune system's going to work too. And everybody on this planet going forward needs to be paying attention to their immune system. Learn to read food labels. Yeah, everybody should be reading food labels, and you need to know what you're reading. You know, usually the last 3 or 4 ingredients in most processed foods particularly are toxic. That's where all of the artificial flavors, artificial colorings, and this, that, and the other, and preservatives are usually at the last of the ingredient list. And yeah, learn to read what you're eating. Or, there's a fly on my camera. Get off of there. So, learn what you're reading. And when you buy mostly fresh fruits and vegetables, guess what? There's no label to have to read, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, our reading recommendations. And for my friend who I'm talking to about all this, if you decide, you know what, I really do want to try some of that. Anything that I'm suggesting, any of the books I'm suggesting, I have myself. You don't have to buy them. You're more than welcome to borrow them from me. This one, Grow a New Body by Dr. Alberto Violdo. He was a medical anthropologist, a PhD guy, studying different drugs and things like that, and was paid by a fancy pharmaceutical company to go to the Amazon and find the next big, great plant that can be used in making new medicines. Well, while he was there, he met medicine people and shamans of the Amazon, and instead of coming back with the next greatest cure for something, He handed the money back to the pharmaceutical company. He closed his lab and went back to the jungle to be a shaman and medicine man himself. And in the process of doing all this and traveling to jungles all over the world and meeting medicine men in jungles and shamans and stuff all over the world, he managed to get really, really ill with parasites and the such. His heart was shot, his brain was shot, his liver was shot. His doctors told him, you don't have much time to live. You need to get on the heart transplant list right now is the first thing you need to do. And then you need to come and have treatment for these parasites and the such that are in your body. He was ready to do that, but instead got on a plane and went back to the jungle and asked his medicine people there what he needed to do. And they said, well, you need to do some of this stuff that Western medicine can do, like killing the parasites. But then they said, you can grow your own body back. You've done it once. You did it once as a child. You have it in your DNA to be able to do it again. You can regenerate your body. And that's what he did. He got together with Dr. Mark Hyman, Hyman. He's another good one to look up on Facebook or Instagram somewhere. He has lots and lots of really good information about nutrition and wellness. But Dr. Violdo got together with him, and they came up with a plan to grow him a new body. And the plan is kind of a fast and cleanse. And I did this after having a bad gallbladder attack, 3 years ago now, and managed to save my gallbladder and make myself more healthy in the process. But this one has a lot of really great information in it. It's intense. The cleanse is intense, I'll give it that, but it works. I'm really impressed with how it worked and how I felt afterwards. So if you want the Grow a New Body book, I've got it. All of the rest of these books are in the Medical Medium series. And I just found him a couple of years ago and just have been blown away at the amount of knowledge this man has. He's not a doctor. He's not a scientist. But when he was 4 years old, he noticed the presence of a man next to him, and the man referred to himself as Spirit of Compassion. And he told 4-year-old Anthony William to walk across the table, or move across the table at dinner on a Sunday with his whole extended family, and to put his little 4-year-old hand on his grandmother's chest and say cancer, which freaked grandmother out. And 2 weeks later, grandmother went to the doctor and was diagnosed with lung cancer that she did not realize that she had. So from then on, young Anthony William just would tell people what was wrong with them because he saw it in them, and because the spirit that spoke in his ear told him what was wrong with them. And this man has changed the lives of millions of people, and he finally started writing books a couple of years ago about this. And it's, again, most definitely stuff your doctor does not know and will not talk about. But a lot of the dietary recommendations that I've been following have come from Anthony William. The celery juice that I do almost every morning, the heavy metal detox smoothies that I do almost every day. And wow, what a difference has it made. So all of these I recommend. The one I don't have here, because I keep giving it away, is Food Rules by Michael Pollan, Pollan. Food Rules. It is a very short, easy to read book. And that's what it is. It's food rules. I think his main one is eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That's pretty much as easy as it gets. But yeah, I think I've bought Food Rules 5 or 6 times, and I keep giving it away because it's such a great book on nutrition for folks. So there we are with that. I can also cover a little bit, as if you're not overwhelmed enough already, some advanced dietary suggestions. You know, if you get to the point where you're doing all of this other stuff, you're seeing improvements, I want to do more. What else can I do with my diet that will help improve my health? Celery juice every morning. You know, such a weird thing and such a cheap thing that ends up being a really big herbal tonic. Celery is actually an herb, not a vegetable. Did you know that? And so it's a fat tonic that flushes my system almost every single morning that I do it. And I feel great. A heavy metal detox smoothie. And both of these, almost every one of the medical medium books has the recipes for celery juice and the heavy metal detox smoothie. Not much of a recipe to celery juice. You have a juicer and you put celery in it. The heavy metal detox smoothie has some different stuff in it. A lot of fruit, actually, and then some other things that help flush some of the heavy metals out of our system. We all have heavy metals in our system? We sure do. We sure do. Everything around the world is toxic anymore, and a lot of it has metal in it. We're surrounded by things that have aluminum in them, and mercury, and this, that, and the other. So this just helps get rid of some of that, and it makes you feel really good. Intermittent fasting is another advanced form of dietary suggestion. For me, I try to do solid foods from about 11 o'clock in the morning until about 6 or 7 at night. So that's when I do my solid foods. And otherwise, I allow my body and my digestive system to rest in an intermittent fast. And it keeps me feeling lighter and, I don't know, more functional inside. That I never feel terribly weighed down by my food. And that was another thing I realized when I did the Grow a New Body fast, cleanse program, whatever, was that my body requires far less food over the course of a day than I originally thought it did. I always thought I needed more food. I was always told, just like all the rest of you have been told, oh, you need this much protein, and and you need this many calories. Not so much. When you are really pursuing foods that are calorie poor but nutrient rich, which that covers most vegetables and fruits, you don't need nearly as much food as what you thought you did, maybe. That's what I found out anyway. Consume only or mostly high nutrient, low calorie foods, which that's going to be plants. Eliminate alcohol, caffeine, fast foods, processed foods, refined grains, and added sugars as much as possible. It's not easy because those are favorites of all of us. And again, I only have my experience to share, but as I have decreased and eliminated these things, I feel better with each one of them that I do. I was a daily drinker, and now I drink maybe a glass or two of wine a week instead of 1 or 2 a day. That's made a big difference. Cutting my caffeine has made a big difference. Of course, cutting back fast foods and processed foods, added sugars and things. Yep, all of it made me feel better. If you're into this, vaporized or edible cannabis, which is a potent anti-inflammatory. I'm also going to talk about CBD oil or CBD products in the videos I do about vitamins and stuff. But it's just another plant-based medicine. It's very anti-inflammatory, but I'll just leave that there. And dark leafy greens, kale, spinach, collard greens, turnip greens, etc., cooked or juiced. Leafy greens, dark leafy greens have so many good medicinal qualities in them. Not very many people like to eat them, and when they do eat them, they usually put so much bacon fat and other pork and stuff in them that maybe they're not quite as healthy as they could have been otherwise, which is why I juice a whole lot of mine. I juice or smoothie a whole lot of. I've got a greens bed out in my garden that stays here almost year round. I mean, a lot of them can keep growing all year here in Tennessee. But before I get too far off on my garden and the such. Alright, that's what I've got to cover pretty much about dietary suggestions. Yeah, it's a lot, because to hyper-nourish and support a body outside the medical system is not easy, it's not cheap, and if it was, everybody would do it, and everybody would be healthy, and nobody would be having these problems right now. And that's where we are. But I have a feeling that you, my friend, with your long COVID, may be showing us the beginning of what's to come. There's going to be a lot of long-term ill people that are going to need help. And these may be some of the ways we can start helping. There are ways outside the hospital, outside the doctor's office, and outside the drugstore to take care of a human body. So, that being said, good luck. Love y'all a bunch. Thanks for reaching out to me. I hope that some of what I have to offer can help. And after watching these videos, if you're not completely overwhelmed or think I'm completely crazy, we can be in touch and we'll see where we want to go from here. So, peace out. I'll do another video here shortly. Turn off!